This is the login screen for TED Commander, and as you can see, it is typical of any login screen. You would simply type in your email address and your password and hit the login button, and that would launch the TED Commander application. Once you have logged into TED Commander, the dashboard appears, and that is what you're looking at here. The dashboard for TED Commander is a calendar, and there are a lot of things that we'll go over on this calendar. Some of the highlights: to see the main menu, you would click this and you've got the dashboard. You can graph, compare locations, or compare spider legs, or any other comparison you'd like to do. You can export your data. If you've got multiple locations or want to add locations, you can do that. Energy plans is where you would change your energy rates or do a what if. Account settings, or if you've got a change of address or anything like that, then user settings and activation and log out, they're all pretty self-explanatory. We'll go to the dashboard, and you'll see here we've got previous month, previous week, and then you've got next week and next month. And over here, these icons will allow you to change locations, and this button will allow you to change display options, which are shown on the calendar itself on the dashboard. So let's go back a month, and as you can see here, we're looking at a system that is set up to display solar. So you've got a typical home with a PV or a solar application going on, and what we're looking at on this calendar is cost per day. Now that's a net cost because we've got solar going on, and we've also got your kWh generated. So those are the two figures that you've got shown here. You've got your net cost and the amount of energy that has been produced by your PV system. If you want to change what you're looking at, you can easily do that just by clicking any of the display items here. You've got your cost per day, kilowatt, your net kilowatt usage, power factor, your demand, peak voltage, low voltage, kilowatt hour consumed, generated, time of use rates, and your temperature and low temperature. But we'll go back to what we had up here. So you can also see the calendar has some gradients. We've got some red locations, some yellow days, and some green days. And if you'll notice, the green is high on this day and low this day, and a little bit higher, a little bit higher. The red days just happen to be the sunniest days of the month, when the most kilowatt hours were produced, and the yellow would be days that were partially sunny, and the green days with the low gradient, you can see that on this particular day, you can click on any day, and you'll probably see that this day was cloudy. So we're going to click on that day, and it brings up this data that presents all of the specific detail for that particular day. You've got your kilowatt hours produced, or what your load was, your total for the day, the cost, and what time your peak demand took place, what your peak voltage and the time it took place, low voltage, what your power factor average was for the day. And this is the weather information. The high was 75 and the low was 66. Gives you your wind, and as we mentioned a moment ago, this was a 90% max cloud, so it was a cloudy day. So over here you've got the averages. Now these averages are based on all the Thursdays for the past 2 months, so you can compare this Thursday with the past Thursdays and see that your total for the day is significantly higher, and that's primarily due to the fact that you've got cloud coverage. Up here you can see you've got your statistics information. You've got a line graph, a bar graph, and a pie chart. Let's click on this line graph, and you can see the yellow is your cloud coverage, and you can see it's very, very high. And as I scroll along the bottom for the time during the day, you can see the flag data changes, and you can see that just as you move along, different periods of time exactly what's going on in your home. This bar chart is a different way to look at it. It shows that this green is your generation down here, and you can also look up here in this flag and see what was generated at a particular time, and the red was when you had loads going on and that kind of thing. And clicking the pie chart here will tell you or show you what specific detail went on in your home on this particular day. Your air conditioning downstairs, it cost $1.07 to run on that day, and it used 10.8 kilowatt hours. Your Rinnai, this is a hot water heater, it used 19.3, and it cost $1.93 for the hot water. And you can see as you go around, you can determine the use of each particular thing that you're monitoring. You've got, and over here you've got the legend which shows the things that you are monitoring. But that, and to go back, you just click the daily view and it takes you back to the dashboard here.
You can select, deselect that, and we'll select, let's see what days had the highest demand, and you can actually look at the days and ignore the numbers within the days and just look at the colors, and you can see that the weekends pretty much, this is Sunday and Saturday, Sundays you've got pretty much your demand is very high at 9 in the morning, at noon. That's where your demand is falling, at 9, noon, 11, 5 in the afternoon, at 9. So you can get a good glimpse of what's going on in your home, and if you want to change things, you can certainly do that. If you wish to view the calendar without the gradient being visible, simply deselect the gradient and save it. And it presents the calendar without the gradient, and you can view your data as such. The graphing function of TED Commander is very comprehensive. The system features a very nice, easy to use graphing wizard where you choose the data that you want graphed, the location you want graphed, the information, whether you want your spider information graphed, and particular grid points on a background graph on top of a graph. You can graph based on energy, what your costs are, or the demand, and how detailed you want your graph to be. And to select a date, you just pick a beginning date and an ending date and hit the graph button and you're done. We can use this graphing module to take a look at, see what our generation was for the month of October. So it's on a day, and we'll go from the 1st to the 31st of October and generate a graph. And this will show a visual of the amount of generation that took place over the month of October. You can see this must have been a very cloudy week, and in fact it was, and mostly cloudy, and then we went through a sunny spell and then back to cloudy weather. But you can see that for the most part October was a very good month from a production standpoint. An interesting graph for a solar installation is taking your generation and showing it along with your cloud coverage. Let's take a look at that for the month of October and see what impact cloud coverage had for the month. So you can see, as you saw a moment ago on the looking at the generation, you can see this, the yellow or orange is your cloud coverage, and over here is your cloud coverage up at 90%, 80, 70, 60, 50, and over here is your kilowatt hours produced. So you can see that these days where there was very little generation, it was high cloud coverage, and that was the case here as well. So it's a very good picture of exactly what took place throughout the month and gives you an idea of what the weather was like as well. One nice feature of TED Commander if you have a solar application is the fact that you can actually take a look and see what your solar system actually contributed to your pocketbook for the month or for whatever period. So we've got our costs selected, and we'll do month of October again. So here is the month of October and what my PV system actually contributed. You can see that saw moments ago this was a cloudy period, so it actually didn't contribute a whole lot. But this baseline, this is a zero line, and down here where you've got this going negative, that means my solar system actually offset all of my load. 100% of what I was using during this period of time was offset by my PV system, and I was actually sending power back to the grid. So this is what I want to see for a longer period of time. Cloudy times, not so good. Sunny times, very good. If you wish to graph or to have a visual on a particular appliance used during the month, you would just select one of your spider legs. Let's say our washing machine, and we'll do the same time period, the month of October, and graph it. And here we have a nice visual of when we wash clothes during the month of October. As you can see, move along the day, and the flag indicates the amount of usage taking place for that particular moment. The data export wizard is very similar to the other wizards in TED Commander in that you can select the location, the data, the MTUs within your location, whether you want to export details for a particular spider leg, whether you want to export the weather that was going on at the same time, and the period of time that you want, and then you select the date range and export the data, and you can choose whether you want it in a format of CSV or XML or JSON. The data export shown here, you can see the month of October, day 1, 2, 3, 4 on down, and the specific data that is recorded and exported. Very comprehensive, very detailed, and minute data as well as hourly data can also be exported.